Johnson & Johnson has made its way into mid-Missouri, and local health organizations are working to administer doses to those who are eligible.
In the next half hour, local health authorities are speaking with us about a number of topics on how the single-dose shot will impact mid-Missouri. Tonight, we're covering both efficacy and availability of the vaccine, also how health organizations are planning to use the doses, and how this vaccine could be a game changer in the pandemic.
We are joined here tonight by MU Health Pharmacy Director Brad Myers and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Robin Blunt with Boone Hospital. Thank you both again for being with us tonight. Dr. Blunt, we're going to go ahead and start with you. In the last 30 minutes, Boone Hospital wrapped up a vaccine clinic where officials administered about 1,000 doses, at least aimed to, with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. How did that go, and were all the doses used?
It went extremely well. In fact, our crew out there found that it was being really highly sought after. The recipients were excited to get it. Many of them said one and done, and we're very happy about that. It was just very smooth. It's refrigerated right there. You just pull out the vial when you're ready for it, and it's an easy vaccine to use, and was a very successful clinic.
Sure. Another follow-up question that I have for you tonight is earlier we know some residents outside of Boone County, like St. Louis and Kansas City, showed up to get the J&J shot because it is sought after. Is this a first come, first served basis to get on the list to get vaccinated?
Actually, we pulled from our joint list that we've been sharing with the university and the county health department. When we found out we were going to have these vaccines, we took the next batch of names off of that list. And, frankly, many people from all over the state sign up on every list they possibly can. I did. I actually saw that they talked to one of the recipients who came from St. Louis to get it. However, we really don't have any control over where people live. They can sign up on these lists, and they do all over the state.
That's Brad Myers there at MU Healthcare. The MU Healthcare is holding a vaccine clinics through Sunday, open them up today, hundreds of slots filled in a matter of hours. What's the organization's plan for these events in the next few days? What are you expecting to see now that they are filled?
We are excited. Early this morning, we had about 3,000 open slots, and we had a slight change in our process in terms of transitioning from a survey to a direct appointment scheduling, and we're able to fill about 3,000 open slots in 3 to 4 hours. So we do have, we're fortunate enough from the state to receive approximately 6,300 primary doses for this week, in addition to 4,000 second doses. So we will have approximately 10,300 people that will receive vaccinations at Furrow Field this weekend. Started today, and we'll go through 7 p.m. on Sunday.
Okay. And Brad and Dr. Blunt, you both can probably answer this question. This was actually sent in from a viewer who happens to be a professor at Mizzou in health sciences. Do you have a choice, or do people have a choice in what coronavirus vaccine they receive when they're signing up?
No, we basically receive vaccine from the state. They allot it to us. We have primarily received Pfizer, but here recently we've gotten some Moderna. And then just this week we did receive the Johnson & Johnson. It is not on the sign-up sheet as to what type of vaccine we'll be giving, mainly because we don't know from week to week what we will have available. We strongly urge people to take whatever vaccine is available when their turn is here.
I would echo Dr. Blunt. If there's a vaccine available, we try to get shots in arms. And with our process, we do have awareness for the community members which vaccine they will receive in terms of Moderna or Pfizer, which are the two that we've received so far, because it does differ in terms of when the second dose is due.
So, Brad, let's go back through some of the efficacy of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It's something that's made a lot of headlines about this particular one, proven to be less effective than the other two vaccines, but still just as, if not more effective than many other preventative vaccinations that are given. Is the Johnson & Johnson one a good product for people to get?
I believe yes. I have confidence in the process. The CDC and as well as the pharmaceutical companies have gone through with the clinical trials. The data is sound, and the experts at the CDC and the FDA feel that it's efficacy. There's great efficacy and with minimal side effects.
And if I could add to that,
Sure.
honestly, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was tested worldwide against a number of variants. The efficacy is around 70%, but at preventing moderate to severe disease, but it is 100% in over 50,000 doses in their trial at preventing hospitalization and death. And that's very similar to the results of Pfizer and Moderna as well. So even though you hear 95% for those other two, what we're really trying to do is prevent severe disease, keep people out of the hospital, and the J&J vaccine is quite effective at doing that.
Sure. Dr. Blunt and Brad, moving forward, we are just days away really from this next tier opening up. What are each of your organizations doing to prepare for the expansion to get to that tier 3 on March 15th?
Again, we right now receive what vaccine the state sends to us. We're grateful for all of it. We have worked very closely with Columbia Public Schools and the county health department. We've actually already vaccinated over 700 Columbia Public School employees who fit into higher tiers, the 1A and the 1B2, as there are certainly plenty of employees in Columbia Public Schools that do fit into that category. So a good deal of them have already been vaccinated, but there's still about 2,000. And if we get that opportunity, we are happy to continue to vaccinate that group. We also would extend that to the county and private schools. It's very important to get all these educators taken care of as soon as possible.
It's part of our process at EMU Healthcare. We, after we get through this weekend with our primary and second booster doses, we are going to look at our eligibility criteria and expand that out to meet the state's eligibility for tier 3. We do have an event tentatively planned at this point for March 19th and 21st, because we do anticipate we will receive Pfizer vaccine the week of March 15th.
And Brad Myers, I'll just very briefly here, I'm wondering, are there any other plans to work with other tier 3 groups to get them vaccinated? Obviously, teachers is a big one. Any other ones outside of that?
We're going to follow the state's guidance. So part of our process is that we will expand our eligibility criteria to make sure that we meet what the state feels should be on tier 3. And that would be part of our attestation process when our community members go to sign up for the vaccine invitation.
Okay. Brad and Dr. Blunt, thanks so much. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're asking local health officials how health organizations deal with an overflow in coronavirus vaccine doses. That's coming up next. Welcome back. We are continuing to speak with local health officials about the rollout of the newly approved Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine.
We're joined by Chief Medical Officer Dr. Robin Blunt with Boone Hospital and MU Health Pharmacy Director Brad Myers. We turn our discussion now to what the Johnson & Johnson vaccine could mean for vaccine efforts and issues with dose overflow elsewhere.
And Dr. Blunt, we're going to start with you. Given the non-cold storage for this one-shot vaccine of Johnson & Johnson, what does this rollout really mean for the effort to get shots to all Americans if they want it by the end of May? Of course, we know President Biden made that announcement earlier saying that he wants this to be what actually happens by the end of May. Do you think this plan is possible with where we're at right now?
Well, I don't have a lot of the inside information that the U.S. government has as far as availability, but certainly the addition of this third vaccine, understanding that Johnson & Johnson plans to send a very large amount after this one primary amount that they did this week. It's an easy vaccine to store. It's an easy vaccine to give. You don't have to have a second dose and get somebody back a second time. There is a small percent of people that don't show up for their second vaccine that have been given Pfizer or Moderna for whatever reason. It also is a vaccine that can reach hard to get folks. So you can take it into somebody's home and give a dose, whereas it's really tough to do that with some of these that require colder storage and 2 doses. There's opportunity for people in the facilities, et cetera. Again, much easier to get that vaccination done and get the protection that it that it affords within a couple of weeks. So I think optimistically, if we keep getting all 3 products in large amounts, we can get folks done.
We've heard some stories over the last month of vaccine events that ended with some doses being unused and needing really another home to go to, if you will, to go through that. Brad Myers, has MU Healthcare ever experienced this where they didn't have enough people to get a vaccine? Or on the other hand, has MU Healthcare ever received doses from people who couldn't use them?
We had processes in place to ensure that if we received the vaccines, we would put the shots in arms. So there was a survey where we combined both the health department and Boone and the MU Healthcare surveys together, and we created a standby list. So if it were getting late in the day and we had vaccines available, we started utilizing and calling community citizens and members from the standby list so that we could assure that no doses were left not in arms. In terms of receiving vaccines from other facilities, we did receive an additional 2,300 doses of Pfizer from the state this week, which is as part of a high throughput system. We were allocated 4,000 doses of Moderna in addition to the 2,300 doses of Pfizer for this weekend.
And that came from an event that maybe had the doses and couldn't use them all?
I'm not certain where the 2,300 doses came from. It was from the state. I'm not sure where those doses were left over from.
Sure, but anything helps, right?
Absolutely.
And you kind of mentioned this literally seconds ago, but what does MU Healthcare know about the future allocations of each existing coronavirus vaccine that you will be getting?
At this point from the state, we've been told it's really more of a month-to-month view of the doses we would receive. My understanding is the state receives allocations from the federal government in 3 to 4 week increments. And so we find out based off the federal allocation to the state how many doses we will receive. So we know at least for March where we stand.
And finally, here with this last question, this is for Dr. Robin Blunt. Any logistical or supply chain management challenges that Boone Hospital has experienced so far?
Well, I really can't say that there have been. I mean, again, we have not been, we are not one of the high output vaccinators, so we get vaccine on a week by week basis. Some weeks we get none, some weeks like this week we got 1,500. It is a bit more of a challenge when you don't know if you're going to have vaccine, but then when you get it, you want to make sure it gets utilized rapidly. So it's a little more of a challenge to set up a large clinic like we had today when we only had 2 days notice.
Right.
But we were able to do it. We've got the resources. We've got very dedicated staff that want to be part of this, and so we're able to do it whenever we get it and however much we get. We have been hearing from the state on calls this week that they anticipate a significant increase in vaccine supply overall in April and May, and that goes along with what we're hearing from the federal government as well. So, they expect to be rolling out more vaccine after these last few weeks of March.
All right. Well, thank you both very much for this. We're going to go to a quick commercial break.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are speaking with local health officials tonight on vaccination efforts here in mid-Missouri. We're
joined by Dr. Robin Blunt with Boone Hospital and MU Health Pharmacy Director Brad Myers. We're going to turn the discussion now to side effects of vaccines. Gotten a lot of questions regarding that. Dr. Blunt, what can you tell us about the side effects of a second vaccine dose. Is there anything that can be done to prevent these side effects in particular? And I also want to ask specifically what a viewer asked us about them. Are anti-inflammatory drugs, are they okay to take if you're feeling some of those side effects from it?
Yeah. Well, the most common side effects are similar to a flu vaccine, feeling achy, a sore arm, maybe a low-grade fever. We have found with Moderna and Pfizer that the second vaccine sometimes gives a little more response than the first. However, that shows that your body has seen that stimulus already, and it's ready to fight it if it sees it again. It is fine to take Tylenol, but I would discourage people from taking ibuprofen or naproxen. Those are anti-inflammatory medications, and we want inflammation. We want your body to respond to the vaccine. Tylenol works great. When I had my vaccine, I took Tylenol, and within an hour or so felt fine. All of these types of side effects usually are gone in 24 hours. The only serious side effects that have really been noted are the occasional severe allergic reaction. The percentage after 50 million doses being given in the U.S., very, very low, in the 0.001% range. And these are not fatal. We keep the antidote, we keep epinephrine at all of our vaccine sites just in case. And then, just pointing out that we've had 500,000 people die from COVID. I would not avoid a COVID vaccine because I'm worried about a 0.001% side effect otherwise. So get your vaccine.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Blunt. And thank you, Brad Myers from MU Healthcare, for joining us tonight about this conversation on vaccination efforts. We really appreciate your time.
And for you viewing, we'll see you again at 10.